Okay, the first trade I made in platinum today, I could see that it was downtrending, as you can see here on the screen. And I'm looking for a 1 to 3, 1 to 2, 1 to 3 win to risk to win ratio. And so I put in a stop order and a limit order there and just let it ride. And then you can see kind of why I chose the stop order location on the 1 minute chart here. It's just below the blue line at 973.10. And so it looks like it's taking a nice dip down there. All right. And it got down to the 967 point, which was the lowest point, and kind of hesitated, as you can see here. All right. And then it kind of decided to drop a little bit farther at that point. I was watching it pretty closely. Actually decided to drop my stop order and lock in a little bit of the profits. Okay. And I dropped it a little bit more. So now I've locked in, let's see, 96 to 70 is 4 points, 4.4. So that would be about $200, a little over $200 worth there that I've locked in. If it gets all the way down to the 961 point, that will be over $400 worth made on this trade. I don't know if it'll get quite down to that point or not, but we'll see. All right, the lowest that it has formed is 963.3 right now. All right, you can see the amounts that I've come up with here: 4.4, locked in 220 profit. All right, we zoomed out a little bit to the 5 minute chart here, and locked in. But you can kind of see, I guess it really hasn't changed a whole lot here, but you can kind of see a bigger picture of where it's going. It may be kind of flattening out, and sure enough, it did end up going up, and so I got stopped out. So I ended up making 215 on that trade, as you can see here. Okay, I waited for it to go up to the yellow SMA, and I had an alert set, but I missed the peak because I got busy at that moment, and I didn't quite get in until it was down to this point, which is unfortunate because we're now sitting at a resistance level. Of course, between the top of the peak and here is only like 2-3 points, so that wasn't a huge trade anyway, but I've cut out most of the movement by not getting in very quickly. I went ahead and got in here just because I figured it would probably drop down to at least the 963 point, which was the lowest point that it hit for today. And I set my stop order and my limit order down there, same point as before. And the stop order, I picked that spot because it was above the yellow SMA by a few ticks worth. I ended up raising it up just a little bit above the last peak that it had formed. So I really didn't want to be in that far, and I got stopped out. So unfortunately, I actually lost some money on that one. I lost about $50 on that trade, and so now I've whittled my profits down to about 80. And so then I was watching it some more. And here it is on the 15-minute chart. It looks to me like it is on the bottom part of the MACD, and it looks like it might be tipping up at this point, which is slightly concerning. So don't think I really want to get in quite yet. Here's the 5-minute chart. And the 1 minute chart, you can actually see it's tipping up as well. So I put in an order at a place that was higher than where it was now, and that would be 967. And that point, I would be happy if I got in at that point. It might go up just a little bit further, but even so, I thought even if it went up to the 968, that's just $50. So that's not that much. So I figured that would be a decent place to get in, and then I'd ride it down to the 963 level again, or 964, and I would be happy with that sort of trade as well. Okay, so it actually, let's see, I lowered it just a little bit because that last chart, it kept dropping, and so I lowered it to 966, and then I got filled, and it continued to drop very nicely there. You can see I've zoomed out just a little here, and you can see where I put in my stop order and my limit order. And I have a very tight stop order, so even if I just don't think that I'm going to be losing very much on this trade. I first of all put the limit order where I had originally had it, which was based on, as you can see on this 1 hour chart here, way back on 311, there was a point, the low point there. I drew that across and raised it up just a little bit. It was around the 958.43, and so that's where I ended up setting my my limit order. And unfortunately, it did end up going up, as you can see on this last slide here, and it stopped me out, so I lost another $50. So actually the trades didn't go super well today. At one point I was at a peak of like 350, and I locked in 220 profit, but yeah, unfortunately I made some bad trades after that one, so oh well. It's the way it goes sometimes.